Welcome back to the Apprentice 1-to-1 podcast. It's me again, Mark, and we're doing an impromptu episode today with a very special guest from the world of Twitter. So it's Ceri from Crannis Tech. How are you, Ceri?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. So I've been chatting with Ceri a little bit on and off over the last few weeks since you stepped up to the role of managing director. You've been more of a forefront to your business, I would say, is fair to suggest. Is that the case?
I'm trying to get us out there, yeah.
Yeah, I've certainly noticed you out on social media a bit more than Darren was in the past, to be fair. So
He
good
was
on.
always far too busy out on the tools, but now obviously manage-based, office-based, I'm trying to raise our profile somewhat.
Good stuff. So we'll start with that. Let's hear a little bit about you and the team you've got at Crannis Tech. So what's your background? How did it all start for you working in this industry?
Well, I was a teacher. I went to Loughborough University and did industrial design and technology, became a secondary school teacher, was a secondary school teacher for 10 years, a middle leader for 8 of those. And then when we started having a family, my priorities started changing, and Darren was working longer hours. He didn't want to give up his pride and joy, and I wanted to spend more time with the family, so I've made myself a little role, which I moved into, and it's just grown from there. I worked as a contracts manager for the company for 8 years, and obviously when Darren's departed and gone to the ECA as technical manager, I decided that I couldn't let my team go. So I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go. I'll become MD and owner, and let's see where we can go with it.
I imagine that was quite. I mean, you say you were doing 7 or 8 years as the contract manager, but to step up full responsibility for the entire team and business, how have you found that for yourself on a personal level?
Oh, so obviously you know that I've got my own mental health challenges, and that has taken its toll at times, because there is so much that I wasn't aware of, and had no clue of doing, of how to run a business, but trying to recognize when I need some self-care, trying to recognize that I don't have to do it all in a day, prioritizing, but the reason why I knew that I could do it was because the team I have around me is phenomenal. So knowing that I've got their backup, I can do this bit. I'll sort myself out, and I'll manage this, because I know that they're working like Trojans on the field.
Sounds a lot like me in my situation here. I would fall to pieces if it wasn't for those who work with me. So
Oh,
I
exactly.
I can take a lot from that. I think it's not uncommon for most business owners, actually. It can feel a little bit lonely and isolating when you're sat trying to organize the day-to-day of things, but knowing you've got that team around you must be a massive, comfort to you in that. So I've actually been having a little Google about your business, and I've seen that you've got Matt S from
Yep.
2012, who was, I believe, is it fair to say, was he your first apprentice that you guys
Yes, it
brought through?
was. Yeah.
And he's still
Yeah.
with you today.
Yeah, I remember when Darren was interviewing him, Darren was really quite nervous about taking on someone else. So he asked me to go to Costa and sit near to them, but just have a little listen in. And I remember Matt being so scared, and he didn't look anywhere else. He just sat there looking at Darren like, yeah, I'll do that. But what amazed us at the time, and I wasn't even part of the business at the time, is Matt wrote to Darren saying that he wanted to become an apprentice and what did he need to do. They had a chat, and Darren said, I think you should go off and do this. And then he did followed all of Darren's advice, and he came back and said, I've done that, what next? And so Darren was like, can you just check him out, that he's not going to be like one of those naughty boys from the classroom. Yeah, he's been with us ever since. He was really super shy to start off with, like most will be. He's such a character. He's a moaner. He's a moaner, But if he doesn't have a moan, then something's really wrong.
Everyone likes a moan from time to time, don't they? Let's be honest. I mean, you've just described a similar journey to lots of contractors. You know, from starting apprentice one-to-one, I've spoken to loads of people who have those kind of worries about taking their first apprentice on.
Yeah.
I think we all go through that. You know, the chats I've had with people who are more established as well, like yourself and Neil, who've had apprentices come into their business a few times. You know, you don't know what you don't know, and it is a big worry. I totally get that. The financial aspects and the concerns that somebody maybe won't fit with your business and ideals and things.
Well, so I'm experiencing that now with obviously looking for our next apprentice, because this is the first ones that I've got responsibility of choosing and selecting, it's a big deal.
Yeah, it is, and that's kind of the purpose of what we've come together to speak about today, to your experience of that. And it is such a tricky thing, and I know you've had an issue in particular with a college not giving the right advice, is it fair to say, to a learner, or certainly causing an issue between you and somebody you're looking to employ. So if you want to tell us a little bit about that circumstance first of all, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so we put out an advert to say that we were looking for additional workforce, and I did approach the college initially to say if they had any suitable candidates that were going to be completing their courses. This individual was flagged up as soon to be completing, an ideal candidate for us, although I'm still waiting on a reference from his tutor. That would have been back from March. So I got his CV, I got him in for an interview for work experience. We did 2 trial days, first of all, to see if that was going to work well. That was successful. Then we got him in for a week's worth of work experience. And then I drew up a letter of an offer letter, basically, for employment. And there was the one thing I was unsure of, because I hadn't personally come across this full-time level 3 course. So I emailed the college in April and said, can you just clarify what course he's going on to do? That started some conversations, and I got called by the tutor to say, oh, he needs to sign up to Trade Skills for You, and he needs to do this course. It's about £2,000. Go on the website, just book him in. And I was like, sorry, the college has nothing to do with it. No, it's all handled by Trade Skills for You. Then they need to sign up for a gateway practice AM2, and then they need to pay for the AM2. It's all self-funded. And I was like, really? No. I said, these guys are 17, 18. How can you expect someone that young to be able to support themselves through their MVQ? Like their logbooks. I don't know personally, but I know from when Darren was talking about our guys, it's a lot. So, and he said, well, I did it 20 years ago. Oh yeah, but that's 20 years ago. So I then went back onto the email and tried to seek clarification, and I felt like I was getting waffle back. Nothing really made sense, which is why I got in touch with Carolyn Mason at the ECA. And really, luckily, she agreed, and she said, I don't actually know what they're saying. It doesn't make sense. Which was a relief to me, because I have that self-doubt of like, this is my mental health issue. I'm not understanding, there's something wrong with me. So having that backup from Carolyn saying, yeah, it's not right. And then she's put me in contact, or she showed me that he can do a full apprenticeship, but using the credits that he's done already this year to tick off the full apprenticeship, get the credit for that, and be fully funded.
Exactly. Craig would be jumping up and down right now if he was here about RPLing over your existing training and having your training funded. You know, it's a common problem where colleges will push people towards paid learning rather than utilising some of the free options that are available. It's so sad.
The college weren't willing to look into it at all, which is a real shame, and it sparks concern of why don't you want to do that? Why are you not supporting the individuals? Because goodness me, you know, you're talking a lot of money to
Yeah.
self-fund these courses. And I know from some of our other applicants that you can still do these trade skills for you courses and you're still not fully qualified. So how are they finding this information and thinking it's the right direction for them to go down? I don't know.
It's a process that I think's gone on for sort of 5 or 10 years. And from speaking to people on the Apprentice One-to-One podcast and outside of that through Instagram, there's lots and lots of individuals, like you say, who've gone through what they believe is legitimate training routes to then be spat out at the end of that to kind of sort themselves out, find an employer, go and build an MVQ or whatever, and the colleges have had the money by then, and it often it's chucked back at us as employers. Well, you're not doing enough to help these people. You're not giving them opportunity, or you're stirring up trouble by pointing these things out. It's really difficult.
Well, interestingly enough, the when I was talking initially to his tutor, the tutor was like, "Oh my word! If I had 10 of you every year, we could do this, we could do that, we could do the other." And then when I was speaking to the learner yesterday, he said, "Well, I don't really want to say, but he actually told me to sack you off and go and find somebody else because you're too difficult to deal with."
Wow,
that's like red ragged bull.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure that we're compliant, that we're doing the best for our learners, for the people that we take on, because I don't want us to be exposed. I don't want to get to the point where we take anybody on and then we have to get rid of them if they're not performing or they're not working towards the right qualifications they need. And goodness me, I can't even bear the thought of allowing someone to pay for a course and then finding out at the end of it that they're still not qualified. It's totally wrong.
It really is. And you've got in your scenario there, you've got somebody who wants to be a qualified electrician, an employer who wants to help make that happen. And the disconnect in all of that seems to be coming from the college. And, it's really difficult. And I don't mean to poke this at the training sector all of the time, but there has definitely been angles of abuse. And it's not just around some of the rogue training things that TESP have highlighted. It's bigger than that. So this is legitimate training centres who are selling these courses and not helping the learners in the best way. And I think we can do better with that by talking about it, highlighting it, explaining the difficulties we've found as employers. I've had a similar experience to yours in the past, and I know there's lots of other people who'll be watching this who've had the same as well. It's sad, isn't it?
It is. And when I was talking to the lecturer on the phone, he said, "Well, last year we didn't have anyone complete the course." Right, why is that? Oh, they all dropped out or failed. Right, so let me get this straight. You've got this student on the course who's surpassing your expectations, who's going to complete the course and pass it, but then there's nothing for them afterwards. You shouldn't be running, in my eyes, they shouldn't be running a course based on the theory that no one's going to pass. That as a college, it's diabolical.
It really is. It really is. And you see these numbers a lot, that we've got record numbers coming into the industry and stuff. And Neil made the point a while ago that, that what's the relationship between those people coming in and what's coming out at the end? Because that's the true measure of success. How good are we at getting people from the start to the end?
Yeah.
And I think it's a pretty bad play of numbers if we actually look at that. I think the people who actually make it out the other side is a very small percentage, and that's not right either.
No, well, I have to admit, the poor Ethan, he's been, have we got any further? Is it possible? Have I got a job yet? Since April. And I said, I really am trying to find the answers, and the amount of hours, Friday I spent all day on it, yesterday I spent all day on it. And I was at the point of, if it's this hard to try and find the answers and to try and find somebody that's willing to help him, I'm going to have to call it quits, because there is only so much time you can dedicate to trying to onboard somebody. And if it's, when running a business, time is of the essence anyway. So the days that I've spent trying to find the information, trying to work out how we can support him, even if we can't offer him a full-time job, it's not been easy. So I'm shocked, really shocked, that there is this issue.
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm fairly new to this part of the industry, and I thought I didn't anticipate this massive problem.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, we've only got so much time, and you can't be focusing, days and days into stuff like this. And I got frustrated in the past when I'd see people like Thomas Nardi saying how difficult it was for him to take on an apprentice, and sharing that message on his social media profile. It's huge, pulling my hair out, because I'm trying to encourage people to hire apprentices.
Yeah.
But it's a fair experience. You've gone through it yourself, and it really is disheartening. And to have that been caused by a college, it's especially difficult to hear. But you mentioned you'd had kind of support from Carolyn and I believe the ECA as well. So, these kind of organizations sometimes get a bad rep. How did that actually work for you? Did you get the right kind of help and support from those guys and girls?
Oh, definitely. Because I said, I don't understand. I just don't understand what they're saying at the moment. It doesn't feel like it makes sense to me. I'm just trying to find the best solution for the individual, and they were on my side. They were like, "Yep, that's what we're there for. That's what we should all be about. We're supporting these people getting into the electrical industry." So yes, it feels like she was stirring the pot a little bit by putting some pressure onto the college, but that's what was needed to find out if they were actually going to be able to give us the answers that we needed. She's found Focus Training Group, which is where we're going to direct Ethan for his NVQ. And I did speak to the curriculum manager at the college yesterday to say what's going on. It's some really unprofessional behaviour happening here. Because not only do we have Ethan, we have Curtis starting in September. And unfortunately, another issue's cropped up this morning. I spoke to the curriculum manager yesterday saying, we've got this 16-year-old, you've said he's got a place, everything's set up, but based on how unprofessional you've been with Ethan, how do I know that you're going to be professional with Curtis? And the response was, well, he fits in a nice little box. He's following the normal route, so that shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't be a problem.
Doesn't especially fill you with confidence, does it?
No,
that kind of language
no.
from the start.
No. And in actual fact, Curtis's mum has been in touch today to say that the college have been in touch to say his place hasn't been confirmed. There's further interviews and tests that he has to do. Now, we all know that they have to get their GCSEs. We know that. And we know that if they don't get level 4s, they can do access courses to boost their English and maths. We know that. So we know that nothing is set in stone, but to have the lecturer say on the interview, you're coming in September, I'll be teaching you, to their face, and then the day after they start their GCSEs to be told, actually, you're not even on our books yet. It's he's massively anxious.
Yeah, I can imagine that must be really confusing for school leavers, and they don't have the experience of the industry we have and know exactly how that works. It must be, looking at it from their point of view.
Challenge.
Yeah.
There a lot of them, I hope people don't mind me saying, a lot of them are relying on their parents at the moment to ask those more difficult questions. And yeah, even when I was 16, I was getting my parents to ask some of the questions, because you don't have that confidence of dealing. You just do as an adult tells you. And if an adult tells you you've got a space, you believe them.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be another student signing up for focus training.
So your solution to this problem has been you've had to seek training elsewhere, which is...
Yeah, that's one of the things I was going to ask you about, though, because in my mind, if they've raised concern over the full-time course, and now with the issue with Curtis offering him a place and now not having a place, is that the right thing to do? Should we just be moving our support to the training providers that are good?
That's a good question. I guess there's two chains of thought on that. One is you kind of vote with your feet, don't you, and go to the places which are delivering good training. But the other is if nobody really identifies and helps sorts these problems out, it just kind of recycles on repeat with different people.
Yeah.
So it's a really hard one to answer. I mean, I know there are kind of places you can go to make complaints towards city and guilds and stuff to do with the way these courses have been delivered. So, I mean, there is that kind of aspect, and Craig would be the expert on that one, and I'll certainly ask him about that. But yeah, that's a great question. You know, my inclination would be to do as you've done and vote with my feet and go somewhere else. But I guess that's leaving the problem for someone else to discover in the future again.
I mean, I don't mind making a complaint, because I do think, obviously, with my education background as well, I can't stand the thought of us letting these learners down. But at the end of the day, we have to sign up for a 3 to 4 year contract. And how can I sign a contract or service level agreement or whatever, training agreement, if I have doubts with them now? Everything inside me is screaming, don't do it. Because if I've got concerns, I'm surely going to find it more difficult to change partway through.
That would make a lot of sense. I mean, I would feel exactly the same as you. I would probably be doing the same things you're doing now. We're always told this is an agreement between all parties, the learner, the employer, and the college. And if there's a disconnect or a breakdown in any of that, it generally doesn't work out. So I think you're doing the right thing. It's just really sad that you've had to go down this road and experience what you have. And it would put other employers off. I know it has put other employers off. So kudos to you for keeping going and making sure you have managed to get some resolution and see this through. You know, it's one of the big challenges we've got in hiring people as electricians and making sure they do end up qualified. And that journey you go on with Matt S from 2012, and I've had it with mine, where you see them coming into your business as these school leavers. And it's not just the journey of training them towards being electricians, it's the maturity and confidence that these people build through that as well. You know, it's a really nice thing to do. And to have in colleges let us down with things like this, you know, it's a bit disheartening. But I would say, you know, keep pressing away, Ceri. Don't give up just yet.
Oh, I'm not giving up. I did send Ethan an offer, a contract yesterday, and he was working, and just so happened that Matt P was in B&Q where Ethan is working yesterday, and he's bouncing around because he's got this contract through. So the difference that it can actually make to that one person who is so desperate to get into the industry. And if you find somebody that's going to work well with your team, you can't afford to let them go. But it is you're affecting someone's life and someone's future.
Yeah, you definitely are. There's that level of responsibility on us. And, you know, while you're on, what would you be looking at as an employer? Because, you know, there's lots of people, you know, have gone through that route of doing these courses, and they're now trying to complete their NVQs. And it's really difficult for those kind of people to attract employers to them in the first place, you know, to go on that. So what would be your message to someone in that position? What could they do, you know, to help get a job role with someone like yourself at Crannis Tech?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I did explain to Ethan yesterday on the phone about he could go and do the route that the college has suggested if he wanted to. But if he did choose that, then there wouldn't be an offer of a job with us, purely because of the high standards that we expect and our reservations about these courses. And I explained that there was another candidate that applied, that I was willing to give them a chance. They'd done £7,000 of private courses and had to restart the whole apprenticeship again because they couldn't do the RPL. And for him, I gave him a choice. If you want to go and do that, you can. But if the working for the team is more important, then I'll support you through the apprenticeship and the RPL, and it's you're not having to pay for the education, which you shouldn't have to pay for. But so this other student that had paid for the private course during lockdown, that's now having to restart, he was given an opportunity from a company, but he had decided that he didn't like the company and wanted to move to someone else. And I think if you manage to get in and contact a company and they are willing to give you a chance, take it. Yeah. Because any work experience with a reputable firm is going to put you in good stead above some of the others. I think obviously there are some companies that will accept these courses. We are a JIB company. We do expect all of our employees to have JIB cards. And if your qualifications do not mean that you've got a JIB card or you can't get one, then I'm sorry, we won't take you on. So more work has to be done for the younger ones. And it's just heartbreaking for the more mature students that have done these courses, because I couldn't give them an opportunity.
No, it's difficult. And I asked you that question because I get asked this by those people every day on DMs on Instagram. They're kind of, they've done the 2, 3, 6, 5 level 2s and progressing onto the level 3s, and they're trying to look towards, should I do my MVQ and portfolio, but then they can't get a job opportunity to gather the experience they need. So they're kind of left with the agency sector, I suppose, to go out as mates and improvers to find a way through that. And it's not impossible, but it's very, very difficult to navigate. And I think there's a lot of people in that position who've been told things by training providers and colleges that aren't true. And it's been employers painted as the bad guys for not giving these people an opportunity. Like you've said, you need somebody who you can ensure has the right standards to deliver the services in the way you want. And also that you're going to get a return on the salary payments you make. And you need somebody to come in and work the role. So it's not, it's not as being bad guys.
If someone was 28 and they were restarting their apprenticeship, and they got in contact with someone like Focus Group who was going to tick off all of the bits they had done, they would still need to be paid the minimum wage for their age, wouldn't they? They wouldn't be able to achieve the apprentice wage.
That's right.
So that's where I would become unstuck, because their minimum wage for a 28-year-old is quite a difference to an apprentice.
Yeah, I mean that's the big roadblock to lots of it, and it's not so much just that either. I mean, there is the angle that these people tend to be more mature, so they will take in the learning faster. There's that angle of things as well. It's not impossible, but looking at it from an employer's point of view, it's a really difficult conversation, because like you say, you can employ somebody through a traditional apprenticeship and receive the financial benefits for us to kind of encourage that. There's an acceptance that there is a slowing down of other members of staff while that training first starts to take place. And that's why there's the small grants and the reduction in wages. It's not us using cheap labor. It's kind of an investment on all parts. So it's really, really difficult. And it was interesting to get another employer's point of view on that, such as yourself. And I wouldn't say that's an uncommon one, Ceri. I think that's what most employers would say, to be honest with you.
I mean, I do really feel Ethan, when I first interviewed him, he thought he was going to leave college fully qualified and get JIB rates, and it was a real shock to him to say no. So there is loads of work to be done with the younger ones, but I just...
Was it a 2365 that he was actually on? Because I was only made aware by Craig the other week that they're actually supposed to sign a disclaimer to say they understand they won't be qualified electricians at the end of that course. But in asking lots of the people who've gone through that, they said they'd never had sight of it. I think when I put the poll out on Instagram, about 60% out of 1,000 people had never seen it. So, I think there's a letdown of what training providers should be doing and what they actually are doing.
I said, have the college supported you to get an ECS card? No, what's that? Right, okay. Whereas when on the first phone call with Focus Training Group, they're like, yeah, we'll support them straight away to get an ECS card so they can be on site. How are colleges missing this key information about the industry? Are these lecturers, am I allowed to say this? Are these lecturers so outdated in their experience that they don't really know what it's like to work in the industry?
That's a big question. I think there's
Yeah.
there's a lack of investment in training, and like you said, there are really good training centres out there, like the one you've identified. I can think of a few as well that I know of that are really, really good. So it shows that it's possible to do things properly. But there is an issue with funding, and certainly the salaries available for people in teaching. There's some big industry issues that we need to solve, and I know that the ECA and TESP and others like that are trying their best. But this is stuff that I guess has to come from a government's kind of level. You probably experienced that more than me in a teaching background.
Yeah. I think I'm going to keep on with contacting Carolyn and see what we can achieve together.
Well, it's good that it's not put you off anyway. That's the main thing, and hopefully you get these people onboarded and learning in your business. So at least there's two that have been helped into the world of being an electrician, and who wouldn't want to be an electrician at the end of the day?
Oh, of course. Well, I'd love to be an electrician, but I'm going to stick to my day job.
Yeah, well, I'm having to
much better at management than I would be being a spark.
Yeah, well, we all have our talents, don't we? I'm yet to find mine, so I'm looking still. I'm looking still. Is there anything else?
Your talent.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to speak about while you're here? Are you happy we've kind of covered that off? I'm very grateful you've taken the time to come and chat with me. For those that don't know, this is kind of 10:30, 11 o'clock on a working day, and we all know that Ceri's very busy based on what she's just said. So I'm really grateful on you coming and sharing your experiences and opinions, and I know it'll resonate with a lot of learners and employers. So thank you very much for taking the time out.
No worries. I just think it's such an important topic. And if you saw me yesterday, I was raging. And the irony was that yesterday was actually our staff wellbeing day. So everyone else had the day off to focus on doing something that they wanted to do. And my day was spent working, trying to support this individual. So the team did reply like, you're meant to be having the day off. I know, but the fact that I've helped Ethan means that makes me feel good about myself, because I know that I've made a difference for him. So yeah, I'm pleased that I've been able to help. I do feel like I need my own wellbeing day now. But yeah, it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, sad as that is, it is what it is. You're right, and you have resolved it. So good on you. If you ever want to come back and have a chat, you're more than welcome. We do this every week on and off. So if you want to come back and share the success that you've had with these new people coming in, feel free. Or if you have any other topics you want to speak about, hit me up anytime.
No worries, I will be. I'll be in touch.
Thanks very much. And anyone who's got any questions, drop them below in the comments. If you want to go off and speak with Ceri, I'll leave her Twitter handle in the description to this video. We will catch you all on the next one.
See you soon.